What's wrong with you? You seem off. You seem exhausted. You seem out of it. What's getting to you? These were questions I had the other day. And it's one that always fascinates me a bit. And because I have had the stupid misfortune to have repeated this cycle a couple of times, because I didn't learn my fucking lesson the first time, but that's a story for a different day. What you discover is that when you change, when you step into the husband, the man, the father that you know you're meant to be, when you increase your discipline, your focus, your drive, over time, you'll discover that noticeably and by design, you change. You become a different man. We've talked about the crabs in the bucket before and how people don't like it when you change. But the other side of it is that people don't understand who you are anymore, the man that you are now. And I had one that really highlighted this. And it's one of those ones that people struggle with quite a lot. And even in other areas of my life, as I've progressed to new levels, you lose friends, you lose connections, you lose the ability to connect with people because your life is so drastically different to theirs that the things that used to you could talk about, you could gossip about stupid shit, and you could talk about drinks and going out to the pub and picking up chicks or whatever the hell it might be. You used to be able to talk about those things, but when you become a father or you settle down or you start a business or things like this, the things that occupy your life and dominate the aspects of your life, they shift, and it becomes you have things that aren't in common anymore. It's why the friends you used to have in high school, generally speaking, aren't the friends you have later on in life, because your lives become so drastically different. This isn't always the case. Some true friends will ride through you through all those stages of life, and that's a beautiful thing to behold because they grow with you. But those who refuse to grow often get left behind. And it is something that is a hard pill to swallow, that when you're growing and you're becoming the best version of yourself, people are going to leave your life and people are going to misunderstand you. And it's a hard thing. And as I said, I had it happen the other night. I went over to my family's house to watch Origin. And for those who aren't in Australia, it is a footy match. That's quite a big deal between two states. Anyway, it's kind of like the Super Bowl, I guess, but yeah, it's kind of hard to explain without understanding what it is. But it's a big deal. Lots of people watch it. It's all we've talked about. Anyway, we have watched it for my entire life. So I went over and I just sat and I enjoyed the game, and we kind of didn't really talk, and the couple of conversations we had turned into arguments. And I didn't mean them to, but like, we stand on very different things now. We have very differing point of views on things, and the further I've gotten into 126, the more I'm like, I don't have time for drama. I don't have time for or the patience to deal with gossip and minutiae and things like this. And it's not that I don't love my family any less, but I am now on this different path. And I was there and I was happy to participate and be part of the night, but I don't have anything to contribute to those kinds of conversations and things. And it got to this one where they were like, oh, well, what's wrong with you? And I was like, well, when you whinge about how your life is, when you whinge about your health and fitness, when you whinge about all the things that are going wrong, and we're watching TV and you're eating junk food, you're eating chips, you're bringing out all these kinds of things, I don't want to participate in that. So instead of being rude and flat out telling you, I'm just going to sit here quietly, and I'm happy to be a part of it, but not participate in it. And I find the further you get into things that require extreme discipline and you carve away the things that don't serve you in your life, it becomes harder to tolerate when people don't want a bar of it. And I saw this one, and it's the perfect analogy for it the other day. And they were talking about in it said, the healthier you get, the more you repel unhealthy people. And this was it in a nutshell. It wasn't that I was actively seeking to repel them or to not converse with them, but I am working in every area of my life to be the best version of myself. And the areas I don't like, I put in extra effort. I put focus on. I drive to succeed in that. And I'm nowhere near perfect, nowhere near completion. I am nowhere near even happy with where I'm at in this journey. But this concept of just whinging about it, I don't have time for that. If they want my help, I will be there all in. I will be there 100% to support and guide and lift and hold accountable. But just whinging about it, no. And it becomes this one where the further you get into it, the more that becomes. My whole life now is built around discipline and focus. As I said, it doesn't mean I don't love them anymore. It doesn't mean that I don't want to spend time with them. It just means that I am a bit more reserved in the things that I'm going to give my energy to. And it's like when I bump into, old friends and they're like, oh, let's go down to the pub. We're hitting the pub with such and such and such. And I was like, oh, don't do that. If you want to go grab a coffee and we'll have a chat, 100%, all in for that. But I don't participate in those things anymore. I don't need to go get drunk. I don't need to go do those things. And I don't need to talk about the gossip of all those things. The main things in my life are my kids, my business, my wife, my fitness. I'm a pretty boring dude. And if you want to converse on that and you want assistance with that and you want guidance, I'm all in for that. But it is this compounding effect. And I find the further you get down the path, the more it compounds. The discipline compounds. The focus, the compounding, the drive, the dedication, even just in physical results. The further I get into this, the faster the results come. It's part of why 126 to greatness is all or nothing. It's part of why it's no days off, because we are chasing that compounding effect of discipline. As I discussed with you the other day about the rucking and discovering those standards of it. Every day I'm finding new levels of standards. I'm finding new definitions to push myself. I'm looking for new ways to define my discipline, to push myself outside that comfort zone, to find the next gear to push me. And this is why it's so important that we don't delay this pursuit of greatness any longer than we need to. We need to be all in. We need to be driven, and we need to start it now. Because the longer you delay it, the later the results will come. The sooner you get into it, and the sooner you commit all in, then you burn the boats and you just go all in. The quicker the compounding effect. And the longer you do it without exception, the greater the compounding effect. That is what we are trying to chase. And I've spoken about it many times before, but we need to be the living embodiment of this. And I had one the other day. I took my kids. One of my favorite things that I have been able to pass on to my children is reading. They love reading. As you can see behind me, we've got books. These are just, all my books. These are just my business books, and like biographies and nonfiction books. I love reading, and my wife she makes me look like I don't read books at all. For her birthday this year, I bought her a book advent calendar. So she got a new book every day, every week for 52 weeks, and we went a bit overboard. She's finished that. I got that for her birthday in October, and she's read all the books. So, that gives you an idea. Anyway, we are readers, and my children have never in their life watched TV, watched a screen, anything like that. It's one of the things I'm really proud of. There is lots of supporting evidence to suggest the incredible detriment that watching screens has on their health, on their development, on their dopamine, on their happiness, on their brain, on all these kinds of things, even down to eyesight. They're finding that kids these days have no long eyesight because they're constantly looking at things this close. And the other one, which I think is a really fucking sad statement on where we are at in society, is one of my mum's friends' job is she goes into kindergartens and teaches the kindergartners how to turn a page. I shit you not, that is her job. Because here it is, here's the kicker, and where we need to start looking at ourselves in society is these kids have never held a physical book before in their life. They swipe at it like it's a screen. They have no idea what to do with it. And so it becomes this thing, and I talk about it all the time. You can tell your kids all this stuff, but it's about living it. It's about embodying it. It's about being that, and they will pick that up. So we're out, and my daughter asked if she could get a new book. And it's this fine line because I don't want to get her stuff every time we go out, but at the same point, I want to encourage reading and this thirst for knowledge as much as possible. And on a side note, it's amazing what they can learn if you're willing to partake in that. My kids' favorite things are encyclopedias. They love anything to do with animals and dinosaurs and stuff like that. They can name an incredible amount of animals. We go to the zoo and they correct other people on what the animals are and about them. And we go out and they can name birds as we're walking around. It's a beautiful thing to see these kids just thirst for knowledge and understanding of what is around them and their love for animals. But we went to the book aisle and we're searching through books. And my son comes back with a book and he goes, "Mummy book, mummy book." And I look down at it and it's a chapter book. So in Con's head, chapter books are mummy's books. And that we should get mummy new books because mummy doesn't have any more books. And this is what I mean about the embodiment of it. It's not just that they love books, it's that we love books and that we read books all the time. That this is who we are. And it's even down to things like random things like just having books in the house increases the IQ of your child. Not even reading them, just having them there as a presence. I don't know the correlation between the two, but it increases your child's IQ by up to 5 points. Imagine what happens if they read a book every night. At just one. It's like the 1,000,000-word gap. If you read, I think that's what it is. If you read one book to your child every single night, by the time they're 5, they will have heard 5 million more 1 million more words. That's a big difference. So when we talk about being the best version of yourself, about living in greatness, about leading by example, showing them what it is to go after things that are difficult, to push through, to learn discipline, fortitude, mental toughness, to embody the physical version of themselves, the best physical version, to embody health and fitness, to show them that good nutrition and exercising isn't an oddity, isn't a punishment. It is just a way of life that rewarding your body to be the best version of yourself. When you embody that, that's what they learn. That's what they instill. That's who they become. It's why I harp on about this. Like, yeah, I want to be physically in the best shape of my life for aesthetic reasons as well. I like to look good. I like to look fit. And it's why I struggle at the moment because I'm a perfectionist. I am not happy with where my body is at the moment. But on the flip side, I'm working on dealing with that to teach my daughter especially that this isn't just about aesthetically looking good. It's about being fit and healthy and about a way of life that we just do this stuff because it's good for our body, that it rewards our body, makes our brains better. It deals with depression. It teaches our bodies and our minds to be healthy and strong. It teaches fortitude and discipline and focus. These are really important things. And to help my little girl to have a positive image on herself, that we don't starve ourselves, we eat good food, that eating large amounts of good quality food is the answer. Then it allows us to fuel it, to do fun things like working out, to do exercise that is enjoyable, like bike riding, like climbing, like walking, like hiking, like all these kinds of things. I want this to be just completely understood that you as a father and your actions is what drives the future of your children in so many areas. And honestly, being a father was the greatest calling of my life. I'm now called to share this journey that I am on through 126 to Greatness with others to help you become the greatest father that you can be, the greatest husband, the greatest man, so you can embody those things for yourself. But being a father is everything I ever needed. It is the best part of my life. And I cannot fathom why you wouldn't then turn around and do your absolute best to serve your children, to show up as the best version of yourself every single day, to help guide them in this fashion. Because they are gifts. They are a gift from God, those beautiful little souls. And I would do anything and everything in my power to provide for them in every capacity. And that's what this is about. We often hear people say, I would die for my kids. Cool. That is one action, one moment of, granted, a humongous sacrifice. But you know what would be better? Live for them. Live for your children. Live the best possible life. Show up in every area for them. Show up as the best version for them. Show them what is possible. Love them truly and deeply and in every possible capacity. But part of that is being the fittest version of yourself. Part of that is being the most disciplined version of yourself. Part of that is chasing your greatness to inspire them and lead them. This is part of being the best father that you can be. And you wouldn't be here if you didn't believe that you could do that. You wouldn't be listening to me if you didn't connect with that. So start acting on it. It's one thing to, talk the talk. It's another thing to walk the walk. And it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard path, but it's a worthwhile path. I struggle with this. There are many days where I struggle. And this is my thing. This is what I love. But it's worth it. Every day it's fucking worth it. To see it in their eyes. To know down the track what will come from it. It is worth it. So when you're ready to join me on this journey, you know where to find me. Until then.